So I'll point out a few things which I think is important. Um, you can note the tremendous amount of violence within the source as well, right? You can note the different facial expressions of the African slaves who have been, manacled here, like the violence, like how, and the second thing is how, completely dehumanized they are. They're treated like cattle, they're treated like objects, they're treated, as commodities. The idea of a commodity is central here. You can see, the range of like the swords that the people have here as well. I hope my mouse is visible on the screen. The whip, see the people looking out on top of the ship. You can tell in a way that this is like an operation, right? Because you have someone, there's clearly like a process to be done. So it seems like the person in the middle of the source is observing what's happening, and the people here are being led in the line. Um, yeah, like this is the amount of you can also see like the fact that they're being captured, the manacles around them as well. They're being captured here, then being taken down to the bottom of the ship. And you can tell probably from like the trees in the background that this is something that's happening off the coast of Africa as well. So the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade was one part of the triangular trade. And as always, Britannica is really helpful for giving an overview on this. So I would recommend you read that if you don't already have a good understanding of what the transatlantic and the triangular slave trade was. So if you present it as a map, the images that we saw, so slaves were taken to the Americas from Africa, and the slaves in the Americas produced were working on plantations as slaves, farming things like sugar, tobacco, and cotton. Those are the principal things. The Americas, I mean, around Latin America and the Caribbean. And there were also some slaves in the earlier plantations within like what we would consider North America these days as well, but primarily within South America towards the beginning at least, and then also, like it expands to North America later. Which, if you have an understanding of the American Civil War, is one of the reasons why, fighting broke out. And the sugar, tobacco, and cotton that they produced was taken to Europe because, previously these weren't really commodities that existed in Europe. The climate as well in Europe is not conducive to this kind of farming.